The morning calm over the English countryside shattered as a line of black vehicles tore through the mist. Inside, the royal guards carried an order sealed by the king himself, a mission so secret it could end the monarchy if word leaked. Their destination? Ashwood Manor, a hidden estate quietly owned by Queen Camilla. What they were about to uncover would shake Buckingham Palace to its core. Lost jewels, forbidden archives, and a secret that could rewrite royal history. But was the Queen Consort the thief, or the target of a grand deception? If you love stories where truth feels stranger than fiction, you're in the right place. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because this one's more than just royal drama. It's a real-life thriller inside the world's most guarded institution. And trust me, by the end, you'll question everything you thought you knew about the British monarchy. The English countryside was still asleep when the sound of tires tore through the morning fog. A convoy of black vehicles, silent, sleek, and official, thundered down a narrow road lined with ancient oaks. Inside the lead car sat Commander James Hartley, a man who'd served the crown longer than some of his soldiers had been alive. 27 years of loyalty, 27 years of secrets, but never one like this. In his hands lay a sealed folder stamped with the royal crest, orders signed at the very top. The words on that paper could shake the monarchy itself. Target, Ashwood Manor, authorized by Buckingham Palace. Execute immediately. The name on the file made his stomach twist. Queen Camilla, a royal residence, privately owned, officially off limits, was about to be stormed by the king's own guards. Hartley knew one thing: whatever they found inside could end careers, reputations, maybe even the monarchy. As the convoy approached the mansion's wrought iron gates, the sun broke weakly through the clouds. The estate stood silent, regal but cold, its windows glinting like watchful eyes. Locals called it Ashwood, but few knew who lived there. Rumors whispered of royal guests, private gatherings, and sealed deliveries under the cover of night. Now the gates swung open automatically, as if the manor itself knew its fate had arrived. Mrs. Helena Blackwood, the estate manager, stood waiting, a stiff, pale woman in her 60s with trembling hands. She held out a ring of keys, her voice barely above a whisper. "You have full access, Commander. Every room, every lock."
Hartley nodded. "Thank you. This will be discreet, but thorough." Inside, the manor was breathtaking. Chandeliers shimmered like frozen rain. Portraits of forgotten ancestors stared down from gilded frames. Every inch screamed wealth, legacy, control. But beneath the beauty, Hartley sensed something else: unease. His team spread out through the mansion, boots echoing across marble floors. "Basement first," one guard said. "Study next." Hartley climbed the grand staircase toward a study lined with dark mahogany and dustless books. The air smelled of polish and secrets. Mrs. Blackwood followed silently, every step like a heartbeat. He opened drawers, inspected papers, and found nothing unusual until his fingers brushed a hollow panel. A faint click. The sound froze him. Behind the drawer was a small compartment, invisible to the naked eye. Inside, a black velvet pouch. His pulse quickened. He loosened the string. Emeralds flashed in the dim light. A peacock-shaped brooch, encrusted with diamonds, unmistakable. "Good Lord," Hartley whispered. This was a Sultan of Brunei's gift to Her Majesty, 1972. Mrs. Blackwood's face drained of color. Her lips parted, but no words came. If one treasure was here, there were more. Behind the third bookshelf, another compartment. A diamond tiara, Queen Mary's, believed lost decades ago. The whispers spread through the guards like wildfire. "We've got more upstairs," someone called from the hall. A ruby necklace, sapphire earrings. Hartley walked into the main corridor where evidence bags now lined the table. Each one held pieces of royal history, Queen Elizabeth's personal collection, long uncatalogued since her passing. He stared at the treasures, emotions clashing inside him. Relief, disbelief, and sorrow. These weren't just jewels. They were stories, fragments of the late Queen's life, hidden in a place they should never have been. He turned to Mrs. Blackwood. "Did Her Majesty ever visit this estate?" The woman shook her head. Never, sir. The Queen Consort came only for retreats. She never went below the main floor. Then who hid these? Her silence was answer enough. By noon, the manor buzzed with tension. Guards swept every room. In the walk-in closet, a locked jewelry box. Inside, 3 more missing pieces. The magnitude of it hit them all at once. The Queen Consort private home was holding a secret vault of stolen royal artifacts. Hartley stood in the grand hall beneath the stained glass skylight, holding the evidence folder. Cameras flashed, documents signed. Everything now official. Outside, the press had no idea what was unfolding behind those iron gates. But inside the palace, word was spreading fast. By evening, phones rang in Buckingham corridors. Advisors gathered. The king was briefed. Witnesses would later say his face turned pale as parchment. Her private residence, he whispered. Are you absolutely certain? For the first time in his long career, Commander Hartley felt the weight of history bearing down, and the tremor of a truth that could destroy it. Because if the evidence was real, one question would haunt the kingdom. Had the Queen Consort stolen the late Queen's jewels, or had someone planted them to bring her down? And that, my friends, was only the beginning. The news reached Buckingham Palace within the hour. Inside its centuries-old walls, where whispers moved faster than sound, panic spread like fire. Emergency meetings were called. Phones buzzed. Advisors argued in hushed voices. And at the center of it all, the king, pale and motionless, holding the first report from Commander Hartley. Recovered 23 pieces from Queen Elizabeth's personal collection. Location, Ashwood Manor, Queen Camilla's private estate. He reread the line as though the words might change on their own. For years, he had defended his wife against every rumor, every tabloid jab, every whisper of mistrust. But this was undeniable. Across the city, Queen Camilla stood in a quiet corridor of a London charity event when her private secretary rushed in, whispering something that made her freeze mid-step. Her smile faltered, though only for a second. The mask of royalty slipped just long enough to reveal shock and fear. Minutes later, she was gone, escorted out through a side door as cameras flashed outside. Back at Ashwood Manor, the search had moved underground. The team had discovered something even stranger than jewels, a basement filled with boxes, coded documents, and files marked with royal insignia. Commander Hartley's flashlight cut through the darkness as his boots echoed down the stone steps. The air was cool, heavy with a scent of dust and lavender. On metal shelves lay dozens of wooden crates, each labeled with dates and cryptic symbols. He opened one. Inside were letters, photos, and personal correspondences between royal family members, private moments that had never been meant for public eyes. Hartley's chest tightened. This wasn't just theft. This was surveillance. Someone had been collecting leverage against the royal family. Then, in the far corner, his beam landed on a sleek steel safe built directly into the wall. Modern, secure, fingerprint access only. Mrs. Blackwood stepped forward, hands trembling. That isn't mine, sir. I was told never to enter this room. By whom? Hartley asked. Mr. Peton, she whispered. Her Majesty's private secretary. The name hit him like a blow. Richard Peton, the Queen Consort's closest aide, a man trusted with her schedule, finances, and personal affairs. Hartley didn't hesitate. He called for the technical team. Within hours, specialists arrived from London to override the lock. The safe opened with a metallic click that seemed to echo through the entire state. Inside were velvet pouches and leather boxes, dozens of them. When Hartley lifted the lid of one, a hush fell over the room. More jewels, rings, tiaras, necklaces, all meticulously preserved. And in the center, something breathtaking, a small, private crown, delicate, floral, unmistakably handcrafted for Queen Elizabeth herself in the 1960s. Hartley's voice was barely a whisper. This was never catalogued. No one outside the palace even knew it existed. His men stood in stunned silence, realizing the gravity of what they had uncovered. 23 treasures, each one a piece of royal history, hidden beneath the Queen Consort's home. As photographs were taken and evidence bags sealed, Hartley stepped aside, his jaw tight. He had served the crown faithfully for nearly 3 decades, but never had he seen a scandal this close to the throne. Was Camilla involved? Or was someone using her name to destroy her? He didn't have answers, only questions that grew heavier with every discovery. By nightfall, London buzzed with speculation. Though the press had no official confirmation, leaks had already begun. Secret royal raid, one headline teased. Queen's jewels found in Camilla's home, whispered another. Inside Clarence's house, Camilla sat alone in her private sitting room, hands clasped, eyes distant, her staff dismissed. The only sound was the faint hum of London outside. She had trusted her people completely, trusted Peton to manage the estate, trusted Mrs. Blackwood to maintain it, trusted everyone around her to protect her name. Now, that trust was unraveling before the world's eyes. Her voice trembled as she spoke into phone. "James, tell me it isn't true." Commander Hartley's silence said everything. When he finally spoke, his tone was measured, almost gentle. What we found, it's serious. But we don't yet know who's responsible." Camilla closed her eyes. "If it wasn't me, then who used my home to bury the Queen's treasures?" Back at headquarters, Hartley replayed the day's footage over and over. He noticed one thing: deliveries arriving at Ashwood under false names, always signed by the same person. Marcus Chen, a logistics officer who once worked at Windsor Castle. When Hartley cross-checked his records, his blood ran cold. Chen had been on site at Windsor the exact week the jewels vanished after the Queen's funeral, and now he worked directly under Richard Peton. The web was tightening. The following dawn, Chen's apartment was raided. Floor plans of royal estates were found in his desk. Hidden behind a drawer, a phone loaded with encrypted messages. The scheme was real, organized, led. Someone had infiltrated the monarchy itself. And as the sun rose over London, Commander Hartley finally realized the jewels were only the beginning. The real treasure, the real power, was in the secrets those walls had hidden for decades. And someone inside the royal circle was ready to use them. The arrest came at dawn. Marcus Chen, royal logistics officer turned suspect, was dragged from his London flat still in his pajamas. He didn't resist, but his eyes darted around the hallway like a man already running from the truth. Inside his apartment, investigators found the proof no one wanted to believe. Blueprints of Windsor Castle, coded notes, photographs of jewelry, and one phone encrypted so tightly it took experts days to unlock. Commander Hartley stood at the window as the rain began to fall. Another betrayal, another thread pulled from the tapestry of royal trust. For 2 hours, Chen refused to speak. Then, when confronted with the evidence, the photos, the money transfers, the timelines, his silence cracked. His confession came in fragments. He'd been hired by someone far above his pay grade, someone inside the Queen consort circle. "It was Peton," he whispered. "Richard Peton told me it was for security. Said we were protecting the Queen's things." Hartley leaned forward. "Protecting them from what?" "From themselves," Chen said weakly. "That's what he told me." Within hours, arrest warrants were issued for Richard Peton, Camilla's private secretary. But when officers arrived at his Westminster townhouse, Peton was gone, fled before sunrise, leaving only a half-finished cup of tea and a suitcase missing from closet. Security footage from Street Pancras International showed him boarding a train to Belgium, a polished man in a navy coat, calm as ever. By the time they caught up, he was already crossing into Europe. For a moment, it looked like the monarchy's darkest secret might vanish with him. But fate, or maybe justice, caught up. 2 days later, Belgian authorities detained him at Brussels Central Station, carrying €50,000 in cash and a forged passport. When questioned, he lawyered up, but he couldn't silence the evidence found in his devices: offshore accounts, encrypted messages, and one name that appeared again and again: Julian Ashcroft. A ghost. No records, no address, no official existence. Yet his digital fingerprints were everywhere, in emails, in payments, in coded notes sent to both Peton and Chen. Hartley's instincts told him they were facing something far bigger than greed. This was a coordinated operation, sophisticated, deliberate, almost military. And he was right. Ashcroft wasn't real. But Victor Aldridge was. a former MI6 intelligence officer, dismissed years ago under murky circumstances, known for working in the gray shadows between governments and money. Facial recognition confirmed it. The man directing it all was a seasoned spy with ties across Europe. His motive? Not fortune, power. Aldridge had built a conspiracy that used Camilla's estate as a perfect cover, a trap designed to destroy her reputation, fracture the monarchy, and hand influence a foreign client who wanted Britain's throne weakened. It wasn't theft. It was espionage, played out in diamonds and deceit. As the story broke, the monarchy trembled. For weeks, Camilla stayed out of sight, her silence speaking louder than any statement could. The public turned restless, some accusing, others defending. But when the king finally appeared on television, his message was calm and firm. "My wife has been the victim of a calculated deception," he said. "We will uncover the truth, not for the crown, but for the country." That speech changed everything. It turned suspicion into sympathy. It reminded Britain that this wasn't just about jewels. It was about loyalty, truth, and the price of power. And in the quiet days that followed, arrests continued. Chen, Peton, Weather, Sinclair, all caught, all confessing. Only Aldridge, the ghost in the system, slipped through, vanishing into Europe's shadows. Commander Hartley never stopped looking for him. He believed justice had a long memory, and that even ghosts eventually leave footprints. Months later, when the last of the jewels were returned to the Tower of London, the nation came to see them not just as symbols of wealth, but as survivors. Each diamond now carried two stories, one of royal legacy and one of betrayal. Hartley watched from a distance as the public queued for hours to see the restored collection. Children pressed their faces to the glass, their eyes wide with wonder. For them, the scandal was just a story. For him, it was a warning. Because beneath every crown, every polished smile, every golden crest, there are secrets. And sometimes those secrets have teeth. And so, the case closed, but not completely. The jewels returned. The monarchy restored. Yet the questions lingered like ghosts in the corridors of Buckingham Palace. Who else knew? Who else watched it happen? And where in the world was Victor Aldridge? History, after all, is never finished. It only hides behind locked doors until someone dares to look again. If this story fascinated you, the secrets, the power plays, the hidden truth behind royal walls, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because here on this channel, we don't just tell stories. We uncover them. And sometimes the truth is stranger than the crown itself. Crown,